Mine's already open.
Oh, yours is already open.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Seltzer Time podcast. It's your boy Ricky, aka Dick Chuck, aka the man behind the can at Seltzer Time Official. Here, as always, with my conversation accomplice, the man with the hunch about Worcester, Trex.
What is crack and fizzle fiends? Welcome back to the Seltzer Time podcast. I almost called it the Peltzer Time, whatever. Nice intro. I jazzed it up. Thanks for coming back. As always, we're glad you're with us. This week, we had an amazing interview. Ricky knocked one out of the park this week.
Shout out to Twitter DMs. This week was awesome. We get to – do you want me to announce it?
Oh, yeah. Dude, it was your hard work that got this. You get to say who the hell's on this week's show.
So we actually had the honor of Kevin Lyman, founder of the Warped Tour, founder of the Kevin Lyman Group, production company, professor at USC's Thornton School of Music. Yeah, he came on the podcast via Zoom to talk to us about, we talked Warped Tour, we talked the impact that coronavirus is having on the touring industry, the festival industry, as well as the college student life.
Experience, yeah.
Yeah, college student experience. I was going to say college student industry, and I'm like, that's not like really what I'm trying to say, but yeah, that makes sense.
Before we get there, you know what we have to do. Hey, Ricky, how was your week, buddy?
What's up? My week was solid. We've just been walking a lot, pretty much every day, going for huge walks. Had, I think, 2 9-mile walks last week, which is a lot of miles.
A lot.
Yeah, so it's been good. Finally got some ice cream, which I've needed. And, yeah, just making a lot of food at home. I really miss going to restaurants. Yeah. I'm starting to, hit a groove, though. Most people I've talked to the last couple of days have kind of said the same thing, where, I'm now kind of, loving this lifestyle. Where, I wake up and, I don't even put on regular clothes anymore. I'm just all right, I've got, my basketball shorts for home, my hoodie, I just kind of rock all day long. And then when we go for a walk, I put on, outside stuff. So I put on, a different pair of basketball shorts and a different hoodie. That way when I get home, I just take them right off, throw them in the washer, whatever. So that's been fun. I've been cold brewing coffee at home. Went to Crust, I think, twice. That was it. So.
Yeah, Sarah and I have been really having fun making dinners together. We've been making dinners together 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
We're trying to do one crazy recipe, try to expand our cooking knowledge and do something a little different.
There you go.
Yeah, that's cool. We actually went out and bought a food processor because she really wants to try making her own hummus.
Hell yeah.
So
that sounds freaking awesome.
I'm not a huge hummus fan, but if we make it ourselves, I'm absolutely gonna have to try it.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I'm all for people exploring. Granted, you said ice cream. My treat for myself this pandemic has been Snickers ice cream bars.
Oh, I love those.
Dude, I've been keeping a dozen in the freezer every 2-week shopping trip, and they last about 7 days, 8 days.
That sounds about.
Yeah, I've tried to only have 1 or 3 a day, but dude, it's hard. I mean, people are calling it the pandemic 15 or some shit.
Oh, dude, definitely.
Not
that's
you,
the thing,
Mr. Walkabout.
What?
You won't get 15, Mr. Walk everywhere.
Dude, my diet has been so bad. I was telling my parents about this. I was like, I'm walking more than ever, and my only goal for this week is to have a salad every single day. So I'm trying to cut one of those breakfast, not a breakfast sandwich. I'll probably keep eating those, but for lunch I might have a salad, or for today for dinner I'm going to, because I didn't eat until way later in the day. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out a way to eat a little healthier this week, because I've been not doing that at all. And we put in an order last weekend for this Friday to pick up some stuff from Queen's Cups. So
very nice.
I'll be snacking big time on Friday.
So I see. So you have sweets at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. I mean, I still have ice cream here, and of course I'm going to have some probably tonight, but I'm trying to figure out if I can just have a salad for one of those either lunch or dinner meals, continue with the epic walks, I'll be okay. I don't know if I'll like lose weight, but I'm hoping to like stay at where I'm at.
I just got a horrendous visual in my brain of a salad milkshake. And I'm like, well, it'd be kind of healthy, but then it'd be,
Yeah. But the ice cream I do have left right now, Ben & Jerry's has a mint cookie. It's like mint. It's kind of like cookies and cream, but it's mint chocolate chip ice cream.
yeah.
Dude, it's so good. I had what did I have the other day? Cookie. It was like cookie brownie cheesecake core or something. That one was wicked good. But then I got the mint one too. So I broke into that one last night.
My dude.
How it is.
So other cool stuff that has happened this week is you started putting up some new posts on the YouTube page.
Yeah. I have this book. It's kind of like a giant scrapbook my mom bought me when I was like 16 probably, and I'd been going to shows for like 2 years at that point. Bought me this book. She's like, oh, you can like scrapbook it, put all your concert tickets in there. And I was like, yeah, like I'm never gonna do that, but that's cool. So I would just throw them
last week.
Yeah. I brought it up last week, and oh yeah, on the show with Katie. So that kind of inspired me to like actually get down to business and start putting in the last, I don't know, at least 10 years of ticket stubs that I'd never put in there. So there's like all kinds of, I got passes and tickets and everything, which then inspired me to like every single show I've been to, there's a story like outside of like, hey, we saw Green Day. Like I think the first time I saw Green Day will be coming up over the next couple of days.
Cool.
It's not in order of when I went to the shows. It's just in order of like when the tickets were put in the book. So it starts in 2006, and then yesterday. So the first episode is 2006. The next episode is 2007, like the summer of 07. But I think the third episode like might even have like 2003 stuff on it. I'm gonna look right now. It's actually like right here.
All right.
Yeah. So
spoilers for podcast listeners.
The third episode has a lot actually. So it's got like we've got 2007. Actually, it's a lot of 2007. We had a 2006. We've got a 2009. Some more 07s. Another 06. This one's an 06. Yeah, this one's actually like 2008. This one's pretty epic actually. But yeah, so the bands that I'm gonna talk about on the third one are pretty wild. They're like all over it's like the first time I saw it, well, the only time I saw Tom Petty, Velvet Revolver, Van Halen when they got back together, and then you've got like Pearl Jam, Jet, Toby Keith, the Dropkick Murphys at the Palladium, and then 2 shows from that rapper Swayze.
So yeah, all deserve to be on the same page. Yep.
Yeah,
I love it. No, I fucking love it.
Yeah, so decided to do a little video. Usually they're like 5 minutes. The third one might be like 10 minutes because there's a lot going on that one. But yeah, so it's just called Stub Stories. I just kind of threw it up on our YouTube, and we'll see what happens with it.
I'm digging them so far. I hope other people are.
Thanks, man. Yeah, some of the stories are pretty crazy. I'm trying to like. It's also there's no rhyme or reason to the way the book's set up. So like it'll go from back when I was like a lot younger, going to see like Simple Plan to like backstage hanging out with Frank Turner like 2 years ago. Like there's it, and those could be on the same page. Like it literally is so all over the place. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Gives me something to do.
Sounds fun. We're all on the journey with you.
Yeah, thanks.
Speaking of other journeys we went on with you, you went on a journey to another podcast. Yeah.
Shut up, Lime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on.
Ricky was a guest on the Bar Down Beatdown. I'm sorry, Bar Down Breakdown podcast.
Yeah, those guys were dope. They did like a fan call-in episode, so we set it up via Instagram DM, and then we did the call through Skype. But it was great. I got to talk about my love for the Bruins and how good they were playing this year up until the pandemic shut everything down. We talked
Joey
about
called 50 goals for pasta.
Oh yeah, how Joey called 50 for pasta, which he may still get. We'll see. But yeah, and then we also talked about a bunch of bands. We talked about the Get Up Kid. Well, we didn't get to talk about the Get Up Kids on the one that got released. What had happened was I called in. We talked for like 20 minutes, but the audio wasn't that good, so we just like kind of had to redo it. But it was still good. We talked a lot about like Bad Rabbits. They used the Get Up Kids for an intro song, and they used Bad Rabbits for an intro song. So I was pretty excited about that. Talk about the movie life, Piebald, and just all kinds of like going to shows up here and going on tour back in 2015. How all that like kind of correlates to a love of punk rock music and hockey.
It was super fun. People should check it out. We put a link on our Instagram page.
Hell yeah. Yeah, those guys are great. They've interviewed some like amazing artists too.
Yeah.
So
A lot of hardcore punk dudes. A lot of pretty serious hardcore punk dudes. So
yeah. That was dope.
For me, this week was super about work. I had a good meeting with my buddy Melvin. He's another local creator here in Worcester, and him and his buddy are putting together like a show on mangas and animes and comics and some other nerd pop culture stuff. I was giving him some advice on podcasting and release schedules and that sort of thing. So when that is ready to announce, we'll share it and we'll hype those dudes up.
There you go. Maybe, I'm talking. Wait, what'd you say?
So probably even have him on the show at some point.
Let's do it.
You're talking.
I'm talking to the 8th grade class of West Boylston Middle School in 2 weeks. Next week? What's the date? Today's 9th. Next week, next Thursday. Via Zoom.
More. I'm learning. Listeners, I'm learning about this with you. Please tell me.
I didn't tell you about this?
No.
Oh, yeah, dude. So my buddy Kevin is a teacher we both went to high school in West Boylston. He's a teacher at the middle school, high school. So he put out this call for trying to do like kind of like Zoom conference calls with his class. He was trying to get there's a football player from somewhere around this area who played in the NFL for like 8 years. There's a dude who plays for the Revolution who was from Leominster. So he was trying to see if anybody had connections with that. So
you did tell me this. I remember now.
Yep. So he ended up getting both of those people along with like Sam James and a whole bunch of there's a dude that went to West Boylston who is now a producer for Barstool, which is like pretty interesting. But yeah, so I ended up linking him up with my buddy Zach from SJC. And then I was like, hey, if you need any more people, I can talk about having a podcast. It was partially as a joke. I'll obviously do it, but
right.
Yeah.
You're shameless. Who in
their right mind?
I love that about you. You are so shameless. Dude, you have marketing.
Yeah, I was just whatever. If you want, if I was in 8th grade and somebody was like, hey, I started we have this podcast that started just because that's how everything works now. You can just do it. I would have loved to have heard that when I was younger. So seriously. I'm going to speak to a class.
That's awesome, man. Good for you.
So pretty excited about that. It'll be cool.
I'm sure everybody here cannot wait to hear about it.
Oh, it'll be good.
After it goes wonderfully well.
I'm going to take over the youth of suburban Worcester. Yo, kids, this is what you're going to do, right? You're going to open as many cans of seltzer on the internet as possible.
You got to find a good shtick and then just lean into it extra hard.
That's it.
Get other people to do it with you. Convince all your friends to do this silly thing with you.
That's it.
And next
it's not bad for you. It's just water.
Speaking of that water, that's the thing that I've been most busy doing this week. And if I have it my way, it should be up by the time this episode goes up. We designed a website.
Hell yeah.
Oh, finally. So put together all that shit. The longest thing was just making pages for all the individual episodes. We've done 60. This is episode 66. Execute episode 66. Anyway, that's a nerd reference for some people.
I don't.
Star Wars. Anyway, so it took a while to put pages for everything. So
Nice.
anyway, that's up.
Yeah, looks
Should be up.
dope. I'm gonna fix my bio. We get done
Yeah,
recording this.
he told me he was gonna do it when he had lunch before. So
I was distracted eating lunch. I was just gonna make like some scrambled eggs and move on with my life, and then I ended up making this like scrambled eggs, like fried up some potato, avocado, English muffin. Like kind of went.
you went and had yourself a lunch.
It was time. I was very, very hungry.
He did. He was very hungry before.
I was.
So I think that's everything I have before we rip into this.
Cool.
Do you have anything else you want to touch before we get to this interview with Kevin Lyman?
No, I don't think so. No.
All right, Kevin.
So yeah. Enjoy, guys.
Hello.
Hey, you guys.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you? Let me move
Awesome.
Sitting here in the glare of the, there, a little more light on it. No, when I sit with the window there. So
Nice.
I look like,
Well,
how are you guys?
Oh, we're good. We're just talking about how crazy windy it is here. Is it gorgeous in California?
Where's it windy right now?
Worcester, Mass.
Oh, in Mass. Okay. John Peters land.
Yeah.
I was talking to him on Friday. Yeah, I think so.
Very nice.
Yeah, look at that. I look on CNN with my fire in the back. So
It's gorgeous. It's symbolic.
It's been a little East Coast weather here. We've had 8 out of 9 days of rain now in California. In LA.
Oof.
Yeah. Makes
It's
us
time to be inside though.
Yeah, it makes us all a little crazy though. LA people don't like rain.
Yeah.
So tomorrow it's supposed to be 72 and sunny, so we'll be fine.
Fair deal. Well, thank you very much for coming on with us, man. I really appreciate this.
No problem.
Thanks.
No problem. You guys starting to get to be springtime there.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Hopefully we'll go experience it.
Yeah, John was I don't know, John was showing me his he was getting his rows of potatoes ready to plant or something, you know?
Yeah, well, I see that you're very into gardening. I've been following the Instagram. It's so lovely, man.
Yeah, we've been trying to keep busy. So no,
It's just wonderfully wholesome.
We need sunshine to make it grow now. So all
Right.
good.
Plenty of water. Now you need the sun.
Yeah. Exactly.
Does the rain keep the squirrels away?
No. I mean, there's one out there that I was talking to my bus driver in Alabama today. I said, you know, if you saw this thing, you'd probably put him in a pot already. So, and one of my students, I took that photo of that squirrel, and he actually thought it was a deer. So,
He thought it was a deer.
yeah. So, all good. So
My grandmother has these special ones that like close shut, but one of their squirrels figured out a way to come underneath it and basically outsmart the feeder.
These are all called like squirrel-proof feeders, and I don't know, they just sit there all day and eat.
I like to think of the guy that's sitting there like trying to outsmart the squirrel, trying to like out-engineer the squirrel.
Yeah, I think there was a movie about that called Caddyshack.
Yeah, very good.
We watched that the other day. I was like, my daughters, I was like, hey, have you seen it? They hadn't seen, and it came on TV like a couple hours later. So what's going on? All right, you ready to get started whenever you're ready?
Yeah, cool.
Basically.
So Kevin, I'm Ricky. This is Travis.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Take it away, Ricky.
Cool. So we'll probably just go through like, you know, how COVID's impacted the touring industry. So forfeiting changed over to Kevin Lyman Group, right?
Yeah, we announced that right when I think on the final show in San Francisco. The next day we changed it over to the Kevin Lyman Group.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So I make sure I was on the same page. Talk about how it impacted. You were still teaching class, right?
Yeah, I still teach at USC full time, so that's been kind of nice to kind of have during this time. I think it's been a transition trying to teach online. I was just figuring out how to teach in the classroom. I was doing a pretty good job, I think, in the classroom. But then all of a sudden you're like thrown into this online situation. And, I have classes that are a lot in the live production or facility management. And this would have been the few weeks that we would have been going out to festivals and we would have been going to venues. So it's kind of hard. You're put in that situation, but you're making the best of it. I have a small group tomorrow. So bringing on the head of my He's the person who's done insurance for me for the past 25 years on events. So he'll be able to explain, how the insurance industry is looking at the live event business, because, without insurance and without permits, you don't really have an event. So, you're gonna have to be able to get your insurance things insured if we're going to continue on, and how quickly are they ready to start writing insurance for events will be a big topic tomorrow.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I figure we'll just touch on those topics, and then yeah, that'll probably be
whatever else rolls off of that. We're super casual. We're just awesome, normal with our conversation.
Okay.
Cool. Trev.
So yeah, first and foremost, again, thank you. One of the things that I find most fascinating about you is how much you give chances to guys like us, to people, to smaller people, to independent creators, basically people that are just willing to like work their butts off. And when we've done our research, it's you were put on record many times saying that you were able to succeed with the help of a strong like group of people and these people that you can depend on. What I'm curious is, how do you find such talented people? How do you foster that kind of talent?
Well, I think the big thing in life is, you don't discount people, I think a lot of times in our business, once you reach a certain level, you become a little less accessible. It's been good and bad in some ways. You put yourself out there, but you never discount people. People are going to have ideas, and maybe their name isn't going to be recognizable. They're not going to have it. But a lot of the great ideas that came, on tours I've produced or things I've worked, were someone who maybe didn't have the background and the history to be able to pull off the event as a whole, but they could bring something to it. And there was a guy named Russell Hornbeek who showed up in my office one day, who was like very important about collecting blood. He was blood drives were important to him, and he wanted me to give away free tickets to Warped Tour if you donated blood. And I said, well, that would probably isn't really. I'd love to help, but I can't, giving away free tickets might, there's a way that we run a business too. You have to balance that business and giving back. But I said, hey, maybe we can give free backstage passes to people, and it gave him the foot in the door to do it that first year. And we did over 3,000 people, which was kind of a crowded backstage in Southern California. But, you take people and you try to empower them. I think we're trying to, it's just been, I guess that's why I ended up in education in a way. I think at one point working for years, and it was a little bit reflective this weekend because I think the big deal was the Coachella video that was online. Everyone's watching Coachella, and that was my history. I ran all those shows for Golden Voice back in the early days, and I was the person who did the production on the Pearl Jam show the first time out at the polo fields out there. So we were texting Paul Tollett. We were, talking about some of the funny things, about when Rage Against the Machine last played at Coachella, and there was a group we knew that were going to start the revolution from the campgrounds. And this woman, Mari, that we did a lot of work with in Hawaii when Golden Voice was building in Hawaii, she was very much a political activist back then. So I give her a lot of credit because she's been an activist for 40 years or so. And how she used to always say, I'll be at the venue later, but we're protesting at the submarine base today. And she's like, yeah, we're going to handcuff our submarines. And I go, well, be careful or you'll wake up in Guam one day, and this was over in Hawaii. And she's still going, but then she had to organize this protest in the campgrounds at Coachella. And I was running the campgrounds at that point.
Oh, geez.
We were laughing back and forth about how she was starting the revolution from the campgrounds. And to me, it was funny because they were having a plane fly over the top of the campgrounds, and they were supposed to spell out "fuck Bush," and they ran out of people, so it kind of went "uck Bush." I was supposed to kind of be breaking up her revolution. She wasn't really supposed to run a revolution from the campgrounds. I was trying to reorganize so they could get the shot in before the police showed up and shut down, but. It's empowering people, and that's it's still what I'm trying to do with some of the stuff we're working on now. We're getting ready to announce the moving of the whole 320 project online.
Cool.
This festival I was producing with Linda Bennington and my students at USC. It was it would have been easy to walk away from it. At this point, everyone has an excuse. Postponing or canceling. Everyone would have understood. And I was like, this isn't the time that we should do that. We should show how we adapt. And especially in a teaching setting that we're in, So we'll be announcing it, and we found a great partner, and we're going to be announcing it. And it looks like we're going to run the majority of the panels and the roundtables and the benefit show that we were going to be holding at Club Novo. Most of it's going to be moving online, and it'll be free to the public to view. So
brilliant.
We've been very lucky to and you empower people. There's a small company that kind of is coming in. They're a growing company, but we're giving them the shot to kind of pull this off. Technology. They did our kickoff event last month and did a great job, and they stepped forward and said, we could pull this off, and we'll see if they can, because it won't be for lack of trying if we do have any problems, but we're planning on 21 hours of programming over 3 days.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of content.
From all over the country and North America, we're going to have people, panelists and experts as members coming in and being part of the community. So been very lucky to do that. And that's what really warped and things, and even Mayhem. And it was run by a community. And all we were like the ringmaster, I guess. You had a lot. The original concept, of course, was people say, oh, skateboarding and music, and then I go, yeah, we were doing. Other people were doing events with skateboarding, but I acted on that. I was doing those events, and I acted on it. It's about acting on life, and work just kind of was a curation of a lot of people's inputs, and never discounting anyone. Now it opened the door to some serious sometimes situations that you didn't want to find yourself in, but I'm still sitting here, so I guess it wasn't that bad.
Like trying to cross the Canadian border with stuff written all over your face.
Oh yeah, things like that. The Canadian border, that was the learning process. I mean, much prior to that, we showed up at the Canadian border with no paperwork.
Oh geez.
Somehow to get through eventually. I don't know how that whole night. I flash back very much to that evening of sitting there convincing this guy that it should be okay to let us come in. We'll be leaving tomorrow. We're just coming in and do a show in Vancouver, and we'll be out right away. And they eventually let us all in, and we made the show in time.
That's awesome. Harry. Sorry, my cat is obsessed with being on camera.
Well, that's okay. I've got cats over on one couch. I've got a couple walking around. So I'm free at any time.
I had a heart-to-heart with the dogs that they weren't going to interrupt this interview.
That's all right. That's all right.
So, I mean, just other times you had to play the ringleader. I was curious if you wanted to talk about. I had learned last night about the food fight that I had never really. Apparently, Ice-T started a food fight that you had to stop.
Yeah, it was. We were. I always try to do nice things for people. I believe that we were working hard all summer. Warped Tour was a hard working tour. I mean, everyone was out there, and some people would. It's funny. Your naysayers are going to say, "Oh, you worked everyone," but people didn't realize that we were running on such thin margins that the bands wanted to work every day, because if not, they're paying their crews or they're paying their vehicles. So when we were saying like, hey, we're doing 15 shows in a row, very few people complained about that, maybe the merch guys did. I think it was always the merch guys did, but really people were pretty happy because we kept them going. But those days off, sometimes I would try to find something really unique to remind my crew that it was summertime, that they were giving up their summer, even though we were working. People and sometimes look at us like it's hard work. And I always would try to do it. So we would rent houseboats, or I'd taken people whitewater rafting, we would do things like that. And we were up in Oregon on the Rogue River, and I thought we'd get these jet boats that were super cool and take you up the river. And, and you're also talking about a lot of city people who had never really experienced the outdoors. I was lucky. I grew up in experiencing the outdoors. Lucky that my family, we didn't really have a lot of money, but we went camping. We always found we were a camping family. And then I worked in summer camps. So I was always outdoors, and my wife and family liked the outdoors. So, I would always sit there and go, wow, wouldn't it be great to take some of these people and do that? So I rented bought them all a spot, and it was like $40 a person. So it wasn't cheap. It cost probably, I took over 100 people. So, $4 or $5 grand to take them all up there. But I had budgeted as a little side thing and said, okay, let's do this thing. And it included barbecue dinner, and we went up the river, and everyone was having a blast. It was great. And I'll never forget, I walked off to make a phone call home, and I came back to this massive food fight. It was started Ice-T, and it was started by the motorcycle guys, the freestyle motocross guys. And if you ever traveled with the freestyle motocross guys, they were the biggest rocks. They were like the worst rock stars. They made Motley Crue look like choir boys. They were horrible. So the only real way to deal with a motocross guy, and they'll admit it was I wore steel-toed boots, and I would kick them all the time, or went up behind them and just kick them down hills, and it was the only way. It was like they were, they all turned out to be, close to me in a way, you know, Brian Deegan and Ronnie Feist and Larry Linklagle and a lot of that early Kerry Hart. That was a pretty wild crew we had out there. Mike Sinkmars, you know, they were the
Metal Militia.
They were the Metal Militia. They were the top dogs in freestyle, and it was the first time freestyle motocross had ever been taken across the country.
Sure.
We built these A-frames of a house. You know, Mickey Diamond, who was a supercross racer, told me about that, and then I knew him from a couple things I produced, and we went out and met all those guys. And I'll never forget going to their little compound out there in Temecula, the Metal Militia land or whatever they were doing at that point. And some guy walks up and throws a rattlesnake at me. And I just look at him, I go, really, you think I'm going to, like, this is like, it was like, okay, kids, like, you guys want to get down to, and they did. And you know what? It opened the doors, I think, in a little ways for them to go across the country. I think they all have fond memories of it. I don't see those guys as much as I do, but when we do, oh my God, it's just some of the stories of that summer with those guys.
I can only imagine.
I'll never forget, like, you guys are from Worcester, Massachusetts, and we were doing a show in Massachusetts that day, and there was a little hill, and I'll just never forget, they were shooting fireworks. And that's why I had a band like Fireworks, because they were shooting them backstage, and they were like guys driving forklifts, and they're hitting them with bottle rockets. And I got up behind him, and I ran as hard as I could and kicked him with the steel boot. And I kicked one of them, and he went down the hill like a tumbling, like that, all out of a cartoon. And then I left him there. I left him in Massachusetts, their whole bus. And then I said that I told the bus driver in the middle of the night, I go, all right, pull over to a hotel. They're not coming. Not coming. I took them off the tour for 2 days. I says, you go to a place with a bunch of hotels, park it in a lot. You get off the bus and go check into a hotel for 2 days. Turn the engine off, turn the air conditioning off, and let them rot for 2 days. Like, it was hot. It was one of those weird summers, you guys, when it got up to 90 degrees. So inside a bus, it's going to be well over 100.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just cooking like a tin can.
We left him sitting in left him sitting in a parking lot for a couple of days to teach him a lesson.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
Probably muggy as hell too.
Oh yeah, just miserable. If you've ever been in a bus more than like that's why those air conditioners run all the time, because they in 15 minutes they go up 20 degrees from whatever it was when they
yeah.
So you know, a lot of great stories with those guys. You know, we look back now, but now it's about looking forward. You know, it's looking forward to some of these other things that we're hoping to do. We're hoping that the 320 project is kind of a kickoff for more opportunities for us to work in the philanthropic space that has always been important to us. I look back in some ways that, you know, we always just did it on Warped Tour. I think if you guys probably came to Warped Tour, so, you know, we always had all the nonprofits, but we never really made a big deal about it. But the community knew about it. We should have probably talked more about that through the years. Maybe we could have spilled that out to other places. But now we're taking, you know, forward, and we're gonna have a lot of music involved in 320. But the mental health awareness is the most important part of this project.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't forget what year it was, but Warped Tour had like the highest number of like registered voters.
Yeah, I mean, we always had that relationship, and it was hard sometimes to convince nonprofits. You know, it was like a head count when they started out. It was like they're a great organization, and Tim Bramlett, who works with them, was actually worked for MTV Sports and Music, which came out and filmed the first Warped Tour in 1995. And I called him and I said, you guys should be out in there. He's like, well, they're kind of more like going out on the Grateful Dead. They're going, you know, and I'm like, dudes, all the Grateful Dead people are totally registered. Like, you need to get in early, get people engaged. And I think that first year, normally we would ask a nonprofit to at least cover their expenses for food and stuff like that. And they didn't really have it. And I said, fine, we'll put someone on the road. And that was Kat Cody, who now works for me full time. She ran out there and registered voters and just hustled and jammed, and we set their record for a summer. I don't know if it still stands, but I know it was way up there. You know, we registered, you know, I don't know, almost 3,000 people or something that summer.
That's great. Yeah, I registered to vote at a Foo Fighters and Against Me show back in like 2007 or 8 or something like that.
I'm glad. I was stoked when I heard when the Foo Fighters took out Against Me. I was hoping they would do Warped Tour that summer, but they couldn't. It was a conflict because they were playing with the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, that was great.
But I know the philanthropic stuff is super important. You guys, even like Feed the Children, you did the food drive for the tickets, and like I think all that stuff was super cool.
We were hoping to do that food drive at the 320 Live, but we're gonna, you know, we want to encourage people, and we're kind of building this concept. We'll see where it goes. You know, I'm hoping put in some proposals, looking for some assistance to help me get it off the ground, but we'll see, and I think those food drives were so important. And I know that kids are doing more of those things at shows now. I'm seeing bands now. When you go see a band, they have a table out and maybe they're registering to vote. Or Joyce Manor, they were collecting cat food.
Yeah.
The pets, took my daughter, we went to that show and I was stoked. It was great to see bands like that stepping up and just doing little things, It's not like you have to be, we can all be very political. I guess political would be one thing, in my world, it would be very easy, and we used to be, but now you don't have to be, but you have to stand for something. And it doesn't have to be controversial. Feeding kittens is not a controversial thing.
Seriously.
But a band doing that and going out of their way to collect food and getting it to the local pet shelter, using your influence as an artist in any small way you can. If it is collecting food at the thing, if it is doing DNA swab, saliva swab, so they can get you in the marrow transplants, it's easy. Just embed it into your business model. And people say, oh, business. And I go, yeah, it is a business. Your business brand, your band is a brand. So that's in early when it becomes easy and naturally and grows with you. So if you ever get to that point, you have a tour bus and you can have a spot available for your nonprofit to come with you, and you could take people to a national level. We've seen that with Hope for the Day and Johnny from Hope for the Day and some of the things that he's done and the positive things he's done. And I think that Warped Tour parking lot was a stepping stone for a lot of people to get that national presence. And that was my biggest worry of ending Warped Tour. It wasn't that the bands were going to have somewhere to play. The crew people were always the hardest working, and now they're in such demand. Crew people were always looked at as, when we started the business, the old roadies laughed at Warped Tour. They laughed at, those guys, they're fucking joke. They're not, they work in the mud. They don't, I always say the people who hated me most on Warped Tour were the backline people.
Really?
Yeah, backline people hated Kevin Lyman, and that's cool because it was backline people. You need a very type A personality who loves to work on that guitar all day long and that drum all day long, and that's their world. That's the mindset. And all of a sudden, you have this guy Kevin Lyman who comes along and would like put you out in the middle of a field under a 10 by 10 tent and not exactly say what time your band was playing each day.
Yeah.
And people don't realize, but I listen, and there's a little inside joke thing that it was kind of funny because I would pick up on which backline guys hated me the most. And that was right. I don't blame them for hating me at that point. But I would always walk by, I'd know what time their band was playing. And Was walk by and pretend on the radio I was talking about the storm that was going to hit exactly when they were playing. And even there was a lot of time no storm coming, but just to fuck with them, I'd just be like, Lisa, was that correct? A storm's going to hit at 3:30? Just knowing that guy's set was right at 3:30. Most shit online about me or whatever throughout the year about Warped Tour sucking and that, and found himself in a parking lot somewhere. So, and they had a right to. I don't blame them. I mean, it was different for them. They like to come in and set up their road case, and they like to do it, and they'd be perfect, and that's why they making that guitar sound perfect, a drum perfect. And it was hard. You're in the elements. It's hot, cold, humid. You're not in an environment. You don't get to set up the same way each day. So I understand it, but then a lot of times they didn't understand the big picture.
Right.
That this would be maybe the stepping stone that band would need, so you could work in those kind of venues where you got in at the same time every day, your band played at the same time, you got the same kind of pizza every day, you got the same towel, and you got to take a shower every day.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a stepping stone. And I think some of them now look back and go, oh man, yeah, that helped me get to where I was. The ones who can, and then there's still people that are going to hate Kevin Lyman, and that's okay. You realize it was when you do something like this in your life, not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
I also respect the idea that you put out there that you should be putting giving some of your money away, even if it's costing you money. Putting charity in your business plan is just good business. That's
when you have nothing. I mean, we started Warped Tour and we were losing money the first couple of years, but we always gave that 25 cents a ticket.
So smart.
a charity, and it was cut out as a separate thing. It was a check cut right to the charity. And some people would say, oh, well, the ticket price went up, you should have given more, but so did the numbers of people going. So, we would be doing 500,000-600,000 people a day. And that little check would be $150,000 donated to a charity at the end of the summer. But it didn't affect the overall business model. And then, it's a balance, and it's a balance between finding how to make this work and keep the business side of it going, because you do have to pay your bills. And that's one thing. Warped Tour, we always paid our bills. I mean, what amazes me sometimes is how I hear there's festivals or producers or bands that don't pay their bills. I mean, if you get into this, paying your bills is number one to running a business.
Yeah.
Or the minute you get in trouble, you contact that person and say, hey, I'm in trouble. Can we work on a payment schedule? And even if that payment schedule is a small piece of what you owe me, but the way that I've seen people in festivals borrowing from ticket companies and ticketing companies, advancing people money for their shows, it's gotten a lot of people in trouble. And I've seen it. It's almost like if you really broke it down, it becomes a Ponzi scheme.
Sure. Yeah.
One place to pay somewhere else. So I always found, even 2017, we had a rough year. Everything went wrong that could. It was just a weird year. It was just the weather. We had 24 days straight in rain. The lineup was a little off. We were still going through that period of time where social media, there's a lot of stuff around some of the things that, I tried to address for the whole scene, right or wrong. Probably shouldn't have been online. You don't have to answer everyone on Twitter. Every time they post something, you don't have to give them a response. I felt like it was still that, you want to have communication with people, but then you realize that at one point there was one person had 112 profiles that was attacking the Warped Tour.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. A few people became obsessed with trying to bring it down.
Yeah,
it was weird. I'm talking to and then we did a lot of back end. I had people who can go into the back end and figure out where these IP addresses were coming from and everything, and they were all coming from one person's house.
How does somebody have time to do that?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It's like, if you're going to have this time, couldn't you do something for the positive versus the negative?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Anything else to put that energy?
You think about that even to this day. You trolls online, and if they adjusted their time to the positive or doing something great, they probably would be able to get actually that recognition they crave so much, but actually in a good way. You know? I've never known a troll that if you gets a pat on the back and says, "Great job, little troll," unless you maybe work for a troll farm,
right?
Or something
you just made Trolls 2 or something.
Yeah, you made little trolls, So I think we all are learning to understand and navigate social media and the internet, and that was my biggest thing. Is I wish bands would take the time to meet each other before they judge each other. And I know I've been very vocal about that, but people judge everyone by not meeting them. And I would always say, hey, it's okay, but why don't you come talk to me? Come, even during the worst time when I was I'd say, those people, come meet me at 7 a.m. We can have a chat. If you still, maybe we could find some common ground. Maybe not, but at least you have a face-to-face conversation. Now, soon you can have a face-to-face conversation without even having to come down to a parking lot and talk to someone at 7 a.m.
Right?
Yeah.
Too.
The other day I was listening to a podcast with Chuck, the drummer from Simple Plan.
Yeah.
He was saying how, I think it was their first Warped Tour, or maybe they did a couple dates that first year that they were on it. But everybody was giving them shit for being, more of a pop punk band. And a couple dates in, Tim Armstrong and Lars came out with Rancid, and were both wearing Simple Plan shirts. And it kind of gave them almost like a form of street cred, on the tour, just because they got to know each other as human beings outside of playing, kind of vastly different music.
That's a band I've always respected a lot. Rancid, one of my favorite bands live.
For sure.
I wish they could do a few more. They had done a few more Warped Tours, but there was always, if they had things going on or whatever. But, they did that to a few bands. I know that they helped Simple Plan out. They helped Good Charlotte out. They also understood, as you do with, when you look at someone like Tim Armstrong, I mean, he works with so many young bands,
Yeah.
He's always given them a listen. He doesn't prejudge bands. He takes a listen, maybe learns a little bit about them. You've seen what he was able to do with the Interrupters and finding the Interrupters. He keeps an open mind towards people, and I even saw that back then. It was, you know, it was always maybe a little bit of like jealousy from some of the older hardcore punk bands too, when they saw this pop punk movement, and these guys have been slugging it out, and they don't want to admit, but it's like, man, I've been slugging the punk out for, 10 years already. And all of a sudden this pop punk comes in, and you got Blink leading it. And then you got Sum 41, and then you have all these bands, and they're selling millions of records. So it wasn't like they were going to have the doors swung wide open for them. They had to come in and kind of earn that cred. But, mostly by then it was recognized that, people like Jay Bentley one day walking up to me and saying, man, I totally get it, Kevin. He didn't know who A Day to Remember was, but there they were, like crushing the main stage. And okay, we understand, and we're going to give everyone equal respect out here now.
That's awesome. First time I ever saw Rancid was actually Warped Tour, the 10-year anniversary show at Gillette Stadium. You guys did?
Oh, yeah, we're at Foxborough. Yeah.
First time I ever saw them. It's great.
Yep. That was fun. That was fun. I was cleaning up the office, and I had one of those footballs like they made for me of the
Really?
Yeah.
I've been going through my ticket stubs the last couple of days, like trying to like get them put into like a book, and so they don't all get ruined. And I actually have remember ringtones when you could like buy ringtones for your phone?
Oh, yeah.
I have the 10-year anniversary Warped Tour, like they kind of look like backstage pass laminates.
Yeah.
I have those ringtone things still. It's got like Fall Out Boy and like Letter Kills, I think, might be on one of them.
They're still active?
I have no idea. I forgot I even had it.
You even use a ring, but there was. We always tried to blend new things. We'd be approached by tech companies and people to try to, and I'd say, Warped Tour is a great audience. Come try it, But remember when ringtones were massive for a while there?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm trying to, I don't know. There's companies that we would work with, and some of them would be there a year later, and some of them burned through whatever investment funding, and we never saw them again,
Yeah, I think it was like, I forget what the ringtone company was. It might have been like Sprint or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, hold on. I'll go. It's right here. I can grab it.
This is fascinating content. So are you still teaching? Oh, you already said that you transitioned to online classes.
I've got 6 online classes, so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so that's why I can be here with you on Monday. Jump in there and do classes tomorrow, and Thursday. We got 3 more weeks of classes.
3 more.
It's singular.
Oh, singular. Yes, absolutely. Look at that great artwork too. That art, yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Sorry, what were you guys talking about?
No, just talking more stuff while you're finding your stuff. So something else that I learned that I was kind of curious if you wanted to talk a little bit about is just I'm big on people earning their own keep and people hustling to get shit done. I love that you had the barbecue bands and bands that would have to come along and actually cook. Like, one, where the hell did that idea come from? But 2, like, are there any notable bands that were barbecue bands? Because I couldn't really find that information online in a quick little search.
Well, notable bands. I mean, the barbecue came from a guy named Carlos, and he was in a band. He worked with Lagwagon.
Okay.
Lagwagon would have, and Carlos is an awesome guy. He's gone on to do like sound and production for Bass Nectar. He ended up moving into the EDM world, but he was always a punk rock guy. And he's from Brazil, so he's a Brazilian barbecue guy. He was always great but it was funny though, because he was always spending all the band's money. I thought he was like some trust fund kid that came out with bands originally. I didn't really realize he'd always have the best cuts of meat, he'd be barbecuing, but you'd have to have a special laminate to go. And I was like, wait, Warped Tour is inclusive. Like we can't exclude people. It wasn't cool to exclude. So I said, hey, we need to start another barbecue. So once you took it from exclusivity, you took it to the whole tour, and the tour would be traveling at different years, from probably around that time, about 600 people on the road, to 500-600 people, to later years, almost 1,000 people touring on the Warped Tour at one time. So it has to be accessible to everyone. So you need a much larger barbecue. He was doing it on a small little Weber. So okay, we got to buy a barbecue trailer. And I think our first barbecue trailer, I had a barbecue trailer I bought, and how are we going to haul it around? Like, we have to leave, and the barbecue might be still hot. And I always had this vision of a cool television movie, like a movie where it'd be filmed where a dad, it was like investigating all these big fires across the country. And then he finally solves it because he looks at one of those maps we used to have where we'd have the routing of the tour. And the fires related exactly to that map. And that solved the mass fire because we were burning up America because we were pulling this barbecue trailer that was shooting hot coals out in the middle of the night. That came, so we banned it. And of course, Pennywise, who always stepped up, goes, I got a friend. So that, I think 98 Mute, we ended up getting record deals with some of the early, they got record deals with Epitaph and Fat Records. So they would kind of haul the barbecue and that kind of grew. And then, you know, the last few years we'd have two bands and they were actually like chefs who were actually working on Warped Tour, but had a band, and then one of them would split time. So the food got a lot better. It was a lot more organized. You know, these bands, you know, I don't think we ever really had any that really broke out of Warped Tour, but they were touring bands. They were all bands who got to go on additional tours and got brought out on other tours, because what a great way to meet other bands by cooking food for them. So they'd always seem to pick up a tour afterwards, anything. But I guess if we go through the legacy of barbecue bands, I had a country tour for a while. And the last year of that tour, there was a little band called Florida Georgia Line that was actually the barbecue band. So
that's awesome.
They got $500 a show and had to haul the barbecue right before that.
I had the tour flyer for that tour. I used to work for SJC Drums.
Oh, so yeah.
My office was full of like random flyers that we would always get in. And I remember having that flyer in my office for a while.
Georgia Line probably as an afterthought on the bottom, you know.
They were like way down.
Yeah, they were hauling the barbecue. So, you know, it was fun. You know, the barbecue, the trailer, then we combined it with like partnerships. So PBR, when they relaunched, we had a barbecue that looked like a PBR can for a few years.
Awesome.
And of course, why wouldn't you?
And then the last barbecue trailer is parked down in San Diego, still down at one of the staging company, Clique Staging. They use it for youth soccer games and baseball games that they barbecue at. Sell hot dogs and hamburgers off the back of it now. So I was thinking during the coronavirus, I should have set it up on the street and sold like chopped chicken and bacon sandwiches so people can drive by, smoke meats in the driveway all day long, and then sell them out the side. But
you wouldn't have to advertise; just like let the smoke travel.
Exactly. Well, everyone's out walking, so they walk by, pick up a package, and head home.
Yeah, that's smart. So with the coronavirus going on, I don't know how possible it is, but the other night I was watching the Saturday Night Live. They did SNL like from home. Thought it was super interesting how they were able to put it all together. Do you think there's a way that maybe not Coachella because it's so big and I know they postponed it, but Boston Calling was canceled. Do you think there's ever a way for a festival to do something kind of like that?
Well, you know, I think it's been interesting watching these 4 weeks where, you know, we started 4 or 5 weeks where all those late night television shows kind of went off the air for a week or two.
Yeah.
They kind of came back online and technology wasn't that good, but they were there. But just last week I was watching Trevor Noah and Samantha Bee, and then Saturday Night Live we watched as a family the other day. Hey, the technology, we're figuring out how to use this in a more conducive way that does a niche get carved out for business, for ongoing business.
Yeah.
Where, you know, is there a chance to do, I'm thinking, you know, is there a chance to do another, you know, like living room series, online, you know, cutting in live performances, speakers, you know, we're going to test, you know, and for us, it'll be a real little test to see what we do with this 320 festival we're doing online. You know, it's going to cut in and out of performances, cut in and out of commercials, cut in and out of live panels and speakers. Could someone carve out and create something? I think absolutely, because we've always thought, you know, we've neglected the online in the sense of a performance side because we're all live people. My generation, definitely, it's going to be hard to convince that people want to stay home. But then again, all you do have to carve out is a niche. And I always say carve a niche. That's what Warped was. Warped was a very important niche to a certain group of people.
Yeah.
That niche got a little more well-known, but it really kind of focused on a certain group of people. Could someone create could there be some content futurely created? I'm loving it in a sense. I don't love teaching online, but I'm bringing in guests that are very relevant that couldn't be necessarily in LA. I mean, tomorrow, for one of my classes, I think insurance is a very big topic. So I'm bringing an insurance agent in that he can drop in from Tennessee and come into a class for a while. Could someone, so as it's, and I love the switching, they're starting to put graphics in. It's almost starting to look more and more like a show.
Yeah.
It almost has that old school feel of like a live television show, like something like an SNL where you have somebody in a production room literally saying, go to camera 1, go to camera 2. But like, it's just reinventing itself now for a more digital audience.
Yeah. So, can it be carved out? I think it's going to have to be, I think the smart will be the young bands that are really figuring out how to use this right now, because once touring opens up again, it's going to be very flooded. There's going to be a lot of content out on the road. Probably too much content, because economically money is going to be tight.
For sure.
So anyone who thinks we're going to have tours go right back out and everyone's trying to reschedule tours on top of so I think they're going to end up repackaging better. There'll probably be a couple headliners, maybe downsizing sizes of venues, which will hurt short term, maybe for a while, artist development. So if I was a manager of a young band, I'd be really working on this, involving myself in as much of these things that are online right now to try to develop that fan base that you maybe need to nurture over the next 18 months while things kind of pick back up, so you can go out there, so you can have that base. So when you're ready to tour, you'll be able to start drawing people too, and maybe you can build up your numbers to make it touring more effective for you the next time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think about the touring packages kind of changing. I remember, 10 years ago when touring was kind of down due to the recession and all that. I feel like every weekend I was going to a show where the bill made no sense. Like Saves the Day opened for Motion City Soundtrack and Say Anything. To me, that was awesome. But thinking about how it should have been, maybe one headlining band with a couple of younger ones to kind of give them exposure, that didn't really ever occur to me until you said that.
Yeah, so I think you're going to see that repeated again.
Fascinating. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, Kevin, but I really do appreciate.
Great. Hopefully, best of success with everything. Keep in touch, and we'll get through this.
Yeah,
right.
Together.
All right, you guys.
Good luck with the 320 project.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you. Keep an eye out. We're announcing Wednesday. Take care.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Welcome back. So that was pretty awesome. It was great to get to speak to Kevin about what's going on and how COVID has affected the current touring industry and the festival. It 100% ruined festival season, which is wild to think about. And how it's affected him as a professor.
Yeah, but could you imagine having him as a professor? Like right now, those kids are still lucking out because you have probably one of the most resourceful teachers out there, and he's just gonna roll with it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty epic.
Like learning
him
about-
and then Questlove. Questlove's a professor, or Questlove does something at NYU, and I feel like I would have lost my mind if I was younger and Questlove was my teacher.
Greg Graffin from Bad Religion is a professor at UCLA, I think, and I kind of wanted to take his class.
I was supposed to see them on Saturday night with Alkaline Trio at the Palladium, and that obviously was canceled. But I never took it out of my calendar on my phone, so I got the reminder at like 6 o'clock or whenever I have I think I'd have it set for an hour before. So at 6 o'clock, my phone lit up and I look and it's Bad Religion, Alkaline Trio at the Palladium, and I was just fuck. And then at 7, you get the event reminder that was happening, and I was like, dude, stop, please.
I don't know how I did it. I get 3 notifications. I get 3 of them. One from one app that I use to do my scheduling, one from Gmail, and one from Google Calendars.
Ugh.
It's super annoying. So for something like that, I would get it in triplet. And once I schedule it, even if I delete it, I'll still get reminders. Excuse me.
Really?
Get reminders, yeah, because it just doesn't update itself or some shit.
Huh. I used to get updates. Actually, I wonder, I think that my dive schedule might still be in my Google Calendar. Because for up until a month ago, I was still getting reminders on Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday at 5 o'clock, dive bar, half an hour. And I'm like, fuck.
I wish.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
So everybody should check out the 320 project. Definitely check in with Kevin Lyman's Instagram. I'm telling you, it's one of the most wholesome Instagrams on the platform. Like, it is just, it's like, it's just all flowers and garden pictures. And then every once in a while, you'll see like a signed Lollapalooza tour poster.
Ugh.
It's so random.
That's like what I want every single, like, I don't really follow like I don't follow that many bands anymore. Like, I kind of like unfollowed all that stuff just because it's the same stuff. It's just all promo shots and promo stuff, which I get, like, that's what it's for. But like, I want to see your garden. I want to see what you're having for lunch. Like, that's, to me, like, that's the point of social media and like following somebody and getting like that inside look into what they do. So it's super refreshing that he posts like his garden and stuff like that. It's cool.
Yeah, and that whole mentality he keeps of no room for rock stars, like, that's even more so apparent with that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, show your flaws, show that you're battling a squirrel, show, I don't know, like, that to me makes him way more human. Like, there's musicians and then there's human musicians, and like, that's the kind of musician that I want to follow.
No, so, for sure. I totally agree.
That was an honor having just 40 minutes to talk to him.
Yeah, that was rad. It was super, super cool of him to just make some time for us in the middle of the day on Monday and talk about life.
Yeah, seriously.
Got to hear some cool Warped Tour stories, which is great. I miss the Warped Tour very much right now. I miss everything right now, but I've also like re-fallen in love with music the last week and a half.
I feel you.
Yeah,
after doing all the research for Warped Tour, I had a crazy dream last night that I was 15 again, and I quit school and went and joined the Warped Tour for a summer. And I just I road dogged it. I literally just went and like moved shit around.
Really?
Yeah.
When I was, how old was I? It was before I worked at SJC. I was probably like 23 or 24-ish, right around those ages. I forget how, but I think Epitaph sent out a tweet looking for volunteers. So I actually I interned for Epitaph Records for 2 straight summers at Warped Tour in Massachusetts and Hartford, which like you don't really get. You just kind of get there at like 7 a.m. You drive around, hang up all these flyers on like all those posters for what time that band plays and stuff. You just kind of go around and hang up all that. Luckily, everything I did was like all Epitaph. So they like got me into the show, gave me like a little bag with like a bunch of stickers and CDs and stuff in it, which was dope. And then that was kind of it. But I had a bracelet. So I remember asking like, hey, like, what does this get me? And the kid that was running it for the summer, he was like, dude, I have no idea. Like, I think it just gets you into the show. And like, that's it. I was like, all right, cool. So I used it to walk backstage a bunch, which like, it was weird. It was awkward being back there because like I clearly didn't need to be, and being backstage isn't like that interesting to me, I guess. I just wanted to see if I could do it. So you go back there and you're like, all right, this is cool. But like knowing I was in the way or like I was so focused on not being in the way. But it was cool to like see, I get to see the Wonder Years back when they were on like a B stage. I think on my Instagram, I still have pictures of it. Of like being up against the microphone, like where all the picks are taped to it and like right behind the drums while Casey's playing and just cool shit like that. And then fast forward like 2 years and I'm working at SJC and I'm at Warped Tour and I'm allowed to go anywhere I want. Then it's cool. And you're like, you're comfortable. You're supposed to be there. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't feel like I was like, not going to get in trouble. That never crossed my mind. It was just like, I felt like I wasn't in the way, even though you're still hyper-focused on not getting in the way of people. They're doing their job, and I'm just kind of like, I guess I was technically doing my job, but I was also chilling.
Your job was chilling at times.
That's like pretty much the number one thing on my resume. It's just like, yo, I'm here to chill a lot.
Professional chiller.
Like, oh, what's up? Worked at Starbucks for 9 years. But it's like, yeah, worked at Starbucks, but like I was just kind of there to like talk about hockey in the morning and fall in love every 20 seconds. And that's like, worked at SJC. Well, yeah, but like, you know, my job is to like play on the internet and like develop social media and like mess around on Snapchat. Like my whole job, all my jobs have just been hanging out.
We need you, buddy.
That's it.
Awesome. So yeah, that was super cool. we should probably get into the last part. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Take it away, Solon.
Brother Ricky's in the back, Sweet Travis in the front, cruising down 290 in the hot, hot sun. Suddenly red blue lights flash us from behind. Loud voice booming, please step out onto the line. Ricky preach words of comfort, Travis just hides his eyes. Policeman taps his shades, are you the guys from Seltzer Time? Stokes and Pokes. Stokes and Pokes, Stokes and Pokes. Let's hear some Stokes and Pokes.
So, Stokes and Pokes, thank you so much, as always, Solon. I didn't say it last week, so I'm saying it twice this week. I'm going to poke. We went grocery shopping. I don't know if you've been grocery shopping recently, but the store we went to, okay, they have the one-way aisles.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. Like, one-way aisle makes so much sense if everybody is paying fucking attention.
Yeah.
The store I went to, nobody was paying attention. So like half the people were following the rules, half the people weren't. The one-way roads at the grocery store have now given me road rage behind a cart. And I just like, I was losing my mind. Like, you're going the wrong way. I didn't say anything. I'm just like seething in my ninja costume.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't know. People pay attention. That shit's down there for a reason. You're not special.
Yeah, I went this morning, which was like, it was good and bad. Like, the store wasn't super busy, which was nice, but so Ed Plant gave us like some old, he had like this old like patio furniture that they didn't want anymore, him and Lauren. So they gave it to Naomi and I like last week. We had to take it apart to get it into my car, and then I never put it back together yet because I'm me and I put everything off. So I just kind of put it on the patio, or on the deck, but like it's wildly windy today. So I was like,
sure people can hear it.
Yeah, I was like, I can't leave the stuff out here. Like, those chairs will definitely blow away. But then also, if the chairs move, then like the glass table is gonna fall and break. So I just put everything back into my car as a way to like keep it from blowing away. Which would have been fine, but I had to go to the store today and I kind of forgot I did that. So when I left, I was like, I back up and I hear like clink, 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 clink. I'm like, what is that noise? I look in the back of my car is like full of stuff. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't need that much at the store. So I'm driving there. It's like crazy raining out. Tomorrow I'm getting new windshield wipers put in my car. So of course I'm like a day. I should have done that like 2 weeks ago. But so like I can't really see out of the right side. It was like
getting them put on. Why didn't you just put them on? They're easy.
Well, no. So my dad is like ordering them through work. I'm going to his work to like get them and then we'll throw them on.
Okay.
I'm not like dropping my car off to put them on, but I'm getting new ones tomorrow.
I don't mean to challenge your man card. I was just curious. Sorry.
No. You're good. That's a valid question. But yeah, no. So good point. I'm getting new windshield wipers tomorrow from my dad's work, and then we're gonna put them on. But
no judgment.
No, it's cool. I know dick about cars. So.
Yo, same. My wife knows more. She's my gearhead. That's why one of the reasons I married her.
Oh yeah. No, I saw
my dad got herself fucking rims, right? Sorry. It's just I feel that. Keep going.
Yeah. Hey. No, so I'm like at the store and like I get there, I'm trying to find everything, which I'm usually pretty good about just doing, and they were out of a lot of stuff. There wasn't that many people, but nobody was following the one-way aisle thing. And I'm like trying to stay hyper-focused on that. I have this mask on. You can't breathe that well in those things. Like, it was kind of an annoying experience. I was very excited when I got home and like was out of the car. Because also then when I'm driving home, I've got bags and like a couple cases of seltzer, just like balanced on stuff. So every time I take a turn, you hear like the metal from the tables bouncing. So I was like, it was driving me nuts. I thought everything that was glass was breaking because it was just sliding onto the glass table. Like it was a lot.
It sounded like awful.
Yeah. That's not even my poke.
Jeez,
I'm just hopping off of yours.
We're riffing. Jeez, I forgot what was happening there for a second. So yeah, pay attention, people. I am stoked. So I've been crushing YouTube content sitting here at my desk working on stuff and just I have a television playing right here. So I've been dipping into some older stuff and some stuff I haven't watched as much. And there's a show called 2 Minutes to Late Night that is on YouTube. They posted 6 episodes about a year ago. It is a hilarious heavy metal late night show. It's
That's
hosted
awesome.
by Jordan Guarcinio Hall Olds with support from Hard Melissa, who in one episode they describe her as the Princess Diana of Worcester, Massachusetts. She's played by comedian Emily Panic, and it's just, she's like your typical hardcore scene girl, and she always has like Frankie Three Knuckles or like Billy Banana Shits or like Debbie Cutthroat. Like she always has these. It's awesome, and she's just this hard ass. She plays this hard ass character. But they have so many awesome guests. They have like Ben Wyman from Dillinger Escape Plan, world-renowned guitarist Gina Gleason, Walter Shrivels from Gorilla Biscuits, Vinny Stigma and Shauna Potter do this awesome barbershop quartet bit where they're singing like agnostic front songs to New York City people in like a barbershop quartet.
Yeah.
And all the music on the show is by the band Mutoid Man. Mutoid Man is Ben Collar, most notably of Converge, Stephen Brodsky from Cave-In, and this awesome bassist Nick Caggio. And each week they do a heavy metal cover. And so really what started all this is that like I was looking for different music. I searched in Purple Rain. Their cover of Purple Rain they did with John Baisley of Baroness came up. And that's what I sent you last week.
Yeah.
I've been jamming that so hard. Like,
That's sick. It was so dope.
I don't know if you listen to Baroness, but they have like real, like their guitar tones are very unique to them.
Okay.
The way he plays is very, I don't know, it's a style, right? I love that you can hear that, but it's still Prince, but it's still Mutoid Man. Like it's a fun song, man.
That's dope.
If you're into heavy metal music or punk music at all, if you're into a sense of humor and if you like weird things, check out 2 Minutes to Late Night. So many puns. Somebody has a Gwar Mitzvah. Arsenio Hall has a younger brother named Cannibal Corey. Like, it's just all these puns. It's awesome. I love it so much. And Stephen Brodsky is fucking hilarious and such a talented musician.
That's rad.
Yeah. They play like Hot for Teacher with Gina Gleason, and she's ripping through the solos.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know much about her. I didn't know much about her. She's been on like Cirque du Soleil playing guitar, and like she's played with Santana. She's played with like, she's fucking incredible. An incredible
That's awesome.
musician.
Okay.
So I could not suggest this more. Plus now with the COVID shit, they're doing more covers, but getting other metal bands to like shoot their parts from their houses.
Yeah. That's
Putting it
good.
all together into one big thing. So
That's rad.
yeah, highly suggest it. Check it out if you're looking for some content.
Cool. I dig it.
What you got, buddy? Take us home.
All right. All right. So my poke, it's kind of, yeah. All right. So my poke is when I was talking to the bar down breakdown guys the other day. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Did I say that right?
You did say it right.
Okay. Sorry. As soon as I said it, I was like, I don't even know. I think I just fucked that up. But we did talk about seltzer at the end of the interview, and they brought up this company, Aha, which I've never had. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, and they were talking about it for a second. Never heard of it. I'm at the grocery store today, and Polar was not on sale, which is kind of, well, okay. So the regular like aisle row of seltzers are down there. I'm looking, and there's no, like, Polar's not on sale. It's like expensive as hell. So I'm like, well, this kind of sucks. Then I see Aha. I'm like, oh, that's that stuff those guys were talking about. Like, maybe I'll give it a try. The flavors sounded amazing. It was I think there were two 8-packs for $7 or something. Flavors sounded great. They had like an apple ginger, which sounded really intriguing. Watermelon kiwi or something. I forget. There was like 5 or 6 flavors. There was one that had caffeine. It was like some kind of a lemonade or a nice tea one. So I grabbed 2 of them. I was going to get those. As I'm leaving, they set up So I went to the Shaw's down on Gold Star, and they set up like a kind of like a checkout road, like where it's like all roped off. You gotta like follow that, and they kind of tell you where to go. But then I see all the new summer Polar flavors in the can, like the tall boy cans, and those ones are on sale like 3 for $10. I was like, yo, I'm definitely doing that. So I ended up getting Polar at the end of the day. I still haven't tried AHA, but my poke is I should have got at least one of the AHAs because I really did want to try it. The flavors sound.
Do you know who does AHA?
I have absolutely no idea.
Oh, bro, I thought that's what your poke was.
No, I honestly don't know anything about
They're like
them.
bubbly. They're the exact opposite of bubbly in a way. Who owns bubbly?
Is it Coke?
Pepsi owns bubbly. Coke owns AHA.
Oh, Naomi just popped out of her office and was like, Coke owns it.
Hi, Naomi. Yeah.
She said hi. That I did not know that.
So when I heard the interview, I was like, oh, I want to know about this AHA seltzer. Like 4 or 5 articles. Coca-Cola enters the seltzer game with AHA seltzer.
Really?
I'm not surprised to hear that their flavors are fantastic because they have the marketing budget and the research budget to find out, being like, what do people really want to drink?
Yeah, that's cool.
We'll probably
All right.
still try it. The seltzer show will go on eventually.
Yeah. All right, cool. Good to know. I did not know that. But I am excited for these new Polar ones because usually Polar just has to start sending up. They're always interesting. Some of them I don't like. I'm not a big mango guy. There was something mango. I didn't get that one. I got the raspberry rosé, which I think they came out with last year, but I got another one of those. And then I got something margarita, and I forget what the other one is. You'll be seeing them. They'll be on the feed shortly.
I'm still jamming the Starfruit lemonade, and then we have some orange downstairs.
Oh, nice. So, yeah, my poke is me not buying AHA and trying something new and just sticking with my...
But you did try something new. You tried summer flavors, so good for you.
True. You know what? Yeah, hell yeah. Go me.
Fuck yeah, I'm great.
Fuck yeah, I'm sick. So, okay, my stoke is... we kind of talked about it with Kevin during the interview, but SNL, Naomi and I watched the new SNL last night. I love the fact, that they were able to do it that way. Going into it and being like, I know this is going to be an awkward thing to watch because you're not watching like this show that's been pretty much the same for 40-something years, 45 years, 46 years, whatever. It was so awesome. Like, I thought a bunch of it was super funny. I'm really tired of the like, are you wearing pants? Like thing in every Zoom interview. Like it's played out, but like, I get that it's part of like what's going on. So they have to kind of make fun of it. So that was cool. I thought that was all dope. I thought it was interesting the way they attacked all of it. The musical guest was great. It was Chris Martin from Coldplay covering a Bob Dylan song, which was sick. And then Naomi, as soon as he got done playing, she's like, oh, I wonder if they'll have a different guest, which didn't even cross my mind because I'm like, I guess anything is possible. Like you could have 3 guests. You can get literally anybody right now to play. And like, I'm really excited for next week to see, or for this week, sorry, to see what they do when it comes to it, because you can't really change those sets, The sets are pretty much going to be the same, except, I'm sure they'll do like the painting and stuff like that, like the little like hanging up paper and stuff. But for the most part, it's going to look the same, which you should do. Like that's kind of the point, is you're playing into the fact that everybody's seeing the same 4 walls every single day. But I'm excited to see what they get for a musical guest, or if it'll be one artist will play that first song and then the second song will be a different artist, or who the guest host could be, if they're going to get some of the alumni to get involved. Like, please bring Bill Murray on for something. Please, please, please. But yeah, I don't know. It's just that's really interesting to me. Having a show that isn't pre-taped, even though some of it was for this, obviously, but just attacking something that's so familiar in a completely different light was really, really impressive.
Yeah. I love seeing the way people are doing it. Like I follow a channel called Rooster Teeth. They're a production company out of Austin, Texas. And they have a channel out in California called Funhouse. And Funhouse, they play video games typically. So they need to be together on a system and they need to have the computers together. So they've had to change up the way they're generating content. they put out this 2-hour podcast where they all went on a mystery murder cruise. And it was 4 live videos in OBS Studios, display studio. And they had somebody at broadcast, like, controlling their cameras. So, like, they went and checked out the murder scene. Their little picture dragged over and, like, got smaller because they went into the background of the scene. Like, yes, it's fucking corny as hell, but it is fucking funny. And, like, it's so fun to see, like, all right, we get it. Everybody's learning how to use this shit. We're all trying to do different things. It's clever.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's great. I love it. It's sick.
Like you said, the way this is going, it sounds like we're going to be stuck doing this for a little while. So who the fuck knows where this is going to go?
I saw a report thing earlier that concerts and like sporting events and stuff might be on hold, or basically on hold until 2021. Which, like,
not surprising.
Sucks. I mean, so I think what that means is, like, they'll do, like, the Bruins will play. It'll just be with no fans and, like, all that type of stuff. But
like, so now you'll see, just like Kevin Lyman was saying, we'll see more online concerts. We will see more and then better produced online concerts.
Yeah. So that's the thing, though. Like, I don't even want them to be, like, I want that, like what we're doing right now. Like, I want to see, like, you know, I want to see Blink-182. I don't want to see them reunite. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I've seen them together. I've seen them with Skiba. I don't care if they ever get back together, but I want to see them because, like, there's no rules to anything right now. I want to see whatever we're on Zoom of Mark, Tom, and Travis playing a couple of songs together. Like, that to me would be so sick. I know there's really no way to, like, as, like, messed up as it is, but, like, for them to cash in on that, unless they were to get back together and go on tour, and, like, that's what people really want to see. But just for something to do right now, that would be so sick.
Did you see the Happy Days video?
Yes.
I mean, it's almost exactly what you just described. Like,
yeah, but Tom's not in it.
Well, I know that Tom's not in it, but you said you didn't care if they needed to reunite. I love that they used all their fan footage and, like, that video actually gave me tears, like, watching it.
No, that's dope. And I love it. They did a great job. I think it's awesome. I'm just saying, like, I want to see something happen that, like, shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see them get back together and do, even if it's just play, like, 3 songs, clearly all from your own houses, like, just something for, like, to give people what they want, just as, like, a good gesture. You don't have to get back together. There's no reason you should. It doesn't matter. I want to see Boxcar Racer get back together so I can go see him live, but that's it. I want to see something like that happen. Like,
I guess what I'm saying is I could see a model where if all the concerts are gone and all these bands are, like, they all made their money on the road anyway, them putting together these, like, movie theater quality shows where we can buy a ticket to the show online and then get to see that high quality value. Or maybe they're actually playing live somewhere. And, like, you have what Kevin said, somebody in a control box where you have, like, 6 or 10 cameras. And you have camera operators right up in their face and getting right up their nostrils if you wanted to.
I feel like that's kind of like what the Dropkick Murphys did when they did that live stream a couple weeks back on what was
in a way. Yeah.
Like, and, like, that's cool. Like, that, I mean, that's great for right now. But, like,
You're
I don't know.
Going forward post lockdown.
I'm talking like I just want I want something to happen that shouldn't happen.
Like what?
Yeah. Well, no, I just mean like now's that time for somebody to do something that like it makes a lot of sense financially, but it doesn't in terms of like each party's lifestyle. But I want them to do it now because there's literally nothing else to do. Like that's why I want Blink to do it, or I mean, it makes no sense because My Chemical Romance already announced the tour, and like who knows what's gonna happen.
Backstreet Boys got back together right before this shit.
Backstreet Boys have been back together though.
I don't know. I was just kidding.
I was like, you know, they've been touring for like years together. Or I want like NSYNC to do a thing where like it's all 5 of them on Zoom doing, you know what I mean? Like I just want
That
something
would
like
work. Vocal might work. That would work better than instruments. I just don't know how the hell you get 4 instruments synced up through without some kind of post-production.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
But like what you're suggesting, this is a game changer moment. Like this is time for a disruptor. Somebody that sees what Kevin said, a niche, identifies the niche, and then comes out hitting it goddamn hard. Yeah, because like this is stuff that you and I were talking about. Like people are kind of getting over the Instagram Live thing, and people are getting over television.
Yeah,
so it's time for something else. I don't believe it's Quibi. Oh my God, too much seltzer. I don't believe it's Quibi or whatever bullshit they're pushing next, but it's going to be something like that.
Okay.
That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I haven't watched any. Have you watched anything on Quibi yet?
No, I've just seen a million ads.
Yeah.
So.
Samesies.
All right. This has been a fascinating interview. We've taken a couple twists and turns, but thank you guys very much if you've made it all the way through.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That was dope. Thanks, Kevin, for coming on, talking to us about Warped Tour, giving us some cool stories, and talking about how it's infecting the entire world.
Yeah, being a genuinely amazing person that pushes people forward and helps inspire the next generation.
Yeah, that was rad.
Yeah. So, if you want to find me on the interwebs, you could find me at Hunchback Travis.
You can find me at DickChuck77 or Seltzer Time Official.
Guys, if you're listening to this on iTunes or any other podcast service, give us a 5-star rating, give us a review, type us up something. It just helps us find more audience, and we would really love it and appreciate it.
Yeah, share it. Tell a friend. Tell your moms. Tell your dads. Tell your friends via Zoom. Tell your grandma via Zoom. Doesn't matter. Just tell anybody you see. Tell your delivery man.
Yeah, they're driving around. They need something to listen to. Suggest the Seltzer Time podcast.
It's true. They're the only ones driving around right now.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. Sorry for partying.